All right, Pitt with another win. Oh, sorry, Georgia with another win, 35-3 over Charlotte. Uh, Really, not a whole lot to talk about from this game. Did you learn anything? No, I didn't learn anything. Uh, Offense had a slow start to begin with. The first drive was not as crisp as you would want it to be um, against Charlotte. By the way, Charlotte has to be one of the worst teams ever to play inside Sanford Stadium. Has to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to go back and really look at it, but obviously overpowered was an understatement.
Well, yeah, Kirby kept saying that in his press conference. Didn't really learn a whole lot. Bo Walker looked good, 3 touchdowns. I guess that's the big story. Um, Gunner walked during senior day, and it scared a lot of Georgia fans. Stetson also walked in 2021 and came back in 22 and walked again. So, um, again, not a huge story there. What did you take away from this game?
Um, no, pretty much the same. I don't. I mean, I guess it was a little bit better than a scrimmage, but that's essentially what it was. I would imagine that the first strings get better competition in practice than they got on Saturday, but
Yeah.
um, it's about what you expected. I didn't expect Georgia to cover the point spread. That's just not what Kirby does. He called off the Dogs and it was 28-3 at half. I honestly thought, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But I thought Puglisi and some of the starters would have been pulled a little bit earlier. But frankly,
You mean
from the
Gunner?
look of Gunner, sorry. It probably appears to probably be warranted. They didn't come out earlier since the second and third team only scored 7 points the entire second half. So, yeah, it was. It was. I would like to have seen Puglisi throw it a little bit more, just to see. But I understand the philosophy of, hey, put it in the win category. Don't embarrass these guys. Let them get a paycheck. Let us get some young guys in there and get the fuck out. So that's essentially what the Charlotte game was.
And no injuries either.
Right. Yeah.
So
That
that,
was a
that was
big.
big. And then also you're able to rest Ernest Green. You were able to rest Drew Bobo, Chauncey Bowens, C.J. Allen. Taylor suited up, was in pregame warm-ups, so that's a good sign.
Kyron
Um,
Jones did too.
yeah,
Kyron
Cameron
Jones.
Jones did too. That's right. Um, Colby Young was in a walking boot, walking around pretty good. He was catching balls, so maybe depending on how the playoffs play out, see him back. So there are positives to come away from this game, but nothing in game that we really learned about.
Well, the one thing I will say, and again, it's really hard to tell against this type of opponent, but you are starting to see some of the younger defensive linemen. If Elijah Griffin can come on and push the pocket um, from inside, that's going to be a huge, huge difference maker in the playoffs. So, anyway, I think some of the younger defensive linemen, maybe it wasn't a flash in the pan. Maybe we're starting to see some of these guys round into shape, play in shape. Not that they're out of shape, but you know what I mean. As far as learning the defense and being able to make an impact, and good timing because we could use them in the defensive line in the playoffs.
Yeah, Joseph Anjay Jonah. I finally got his name right. Credit to me. I worked on that. He looked pretty good.
He did.
Elijah
It's two
Griffin.
two games in a row actually for 99. That's what I'm going to call him.
Yeah. Elijah Griffin has looked better and better as the season's progressed. Our defensive backs, Ellis Robinson, now starting to look like the 5-star that he was and is. That pick was pretty impressive, I thought.
It's almost
Demolition.
like Malachi Starks. That it was very similar in terms of how he contorted his body and and hung in the air.
Yeah. So that was a good job. DeMelo Jones has continued to look good. Dalen Everett. Our defensive backs, what was a problem earlier in the season, they have gotten better and better as the season's progressed, and hopefully they get better next game. And then You know, Kelly, number 24 on defense, thought they were picking on him a lot more in the second half, but I thought he played pretty well. So again, he's someone that can, slide in if something did happen. I wouldn't be too worried if something happened. So that's all my big takeaways. By the way, that interception by Gunner, he threw it late.
I mean, if there's one knock on Gunner, and he's gotten better at it, in my opinion, throughout the course of the year, but he's a little late on some things, and then he misses some things that are open. But I think the game's slowing down for him a little bit more, and so you're not seeing that as much. But, yeah, it was just a bad throw. Probably is a bad decision more than it was a bad throw. That's
it was
opinion.
A bad decision, and then on top of that, it was a bad throw. It was late, so all in all, not good. But there was something else. By the way, Gunner, look, whatever, but every game now that we play is going to be basically, well, maybe not next week or this week, but coming up is going to be an elimination game. You got to save yourself, dude. You can't Superman for a first down. It's okay. It's Charlotte. Like, relax. So, he worries me whenever he does stuff like that.
But you can't, if you're going to leave it, that's up to the coaches. If you're going to leave a competitor, which he is clearly, if you're going to leave him in the game, they can't do stuff like that, like slide or go out of bounds. That's just not how he thinks. So if you're going to want that to happen, which again probably is not going to matter for the rest of this year because we're going to need him at every play, but you're going to have to take him out of the game. The other thing I was going to say that's real obvious. We all thought that Georgia, with the receivers Noah Thomas and Colby Young, could be a threat in the red zone. Noah Thomas is finally starting to pick it up. I don't know if it's a question of him learning the offense or understanding that in order to play you got to block in Georgia's offense. I don't know what it is, but he's been a difference maker last 3 games, and I think he has the potential of being that again once we go to the playoffs.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Well, I mean, do you want to talk about games around the country last week? I mean, really.
Well,
we can look at it from a 1,000-foot view, I guess, or a 10,000-foot view.
Well, here's the first thing I would say. If I'm an Ole Miss fan, I'm pissed. I'm pissed because of the distraction. What'd they end up winning by 13-10 or some ugly score like
LSU.
that? Whatever. It was not a good. Go back and look. Ever since all these coaching rumors and all this stuff's been going on with Kirk Lane, Kiffin playing footsies with people, I think the focus off of, and they gotta. I mean, dude, they're gonna go to the playoffs, and all they gotta do is win against Mississippi State, and they're gonna go. Yeah. And yet, I have a coach that is, doing everything he can to stir the pot about going somewhere else. And then, of course, I'm sure I don't want to steal our thunder, but the other 1,000-foot view or 10,000-foot view is if you're Tech and you're at home and this is essentially a playoff game, how can you look as physically? I mean, they got their asses handed to them. And I know it matters to the coaches and to the players, but for the fans, maybe there's just not enough of them around. But I would be apoplectic if I was a Tech fan. That's totally unacceptable to go in and get just physically beaten. That defense is you're right. I'm starting to now wonder, but they're going to look like the Bears 85 defense whenever we play them. But anyway, regardless, those are the two big takeaways for me. If I'm Ole Miss, I would be pissed, fans. And then if I were Tech fan, I would be embarrassed about what happened to me on Saturday. So those are my big takeaways. Other than that, there wasn't really that many good games on or big games.
No, USC Oregon was a dud. I thought USC would play better. Here's my thing, and I know a lot of people are not going to be interested in this conversation, but I'm interested in it, and it's my podcast, so I'm going to talk about it. USC, it's so weird to me because as a kid, that was one of the programs in college football. You had Pete
Pete
Carroll.
Carroll had it for about 5 years where it was the dominant program.
Reggie Bush was everywhere growing up.
That
Matt
defense with
Arnett,
headhunters.
Palmer. They had Troy Polamalu, shout out. They had great players and great teams. They were constantly in the Rose Bowl. Or they were in the national championship picture every year. And to me, I just don't even understand why they can't get recruiting turned around. It doesn't make any sense to me. We both have been to that campus. It's Disneyland for college kids. You're in downtown Los Angeles. Everything's there for you. If you're a USC player, you get treated like a star. It's just crazy to me how, and they're a private school with a shit ton of money, and they can't get anyone. You would think with NIL they would be able to pay players a higher premium. We got their best player. Georgia has their best player from last year, and he was underutilized, clearly.
Well, I mean, I will tell you, I can't really look at USC and say it's a hiring issue because, and I think this is the situation that a lot of programs are going to be in with all these coaching vacancies. I mean, they took the hottest commodity. I mean, Lincoln Riley at the time, everybody thought he was going to be, the guru, but obviously there's a problem out there. I don't know if it's a culture problem or what, but even at Oklahoma, he was able to put up a lot of points. And the knock on them when we did play them in the Rose Bowl under Lincoln Riley is their defense was soft. But anyway, I don't know. College football is better when Notre Dame and USC are relevant, at least, because they're not right now. And this is almost outside of Oregon. The entire West Coast of football has fallen off the map, and now you got the added craziness where you got USC playing Purdue or UCLA flying all the way across country. Rutgers. It makes no sense. Yeah, it just makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand why. And then, by the way, UCLA is probably going to move out of the Rose Bowl to play in SoFi Stadium, which that does not make any sense to me at all.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, it's that's true too. But it's just crazy to me the step back that USC has taken, where you have Miami. Whenever I was a kid, they sucked. They were awful, and now they're kind of getting back to where they once were, kind of, not all the way. So, I don't get it. I just really confusing to me.
Well, also, I'm gonna make a. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was about to end it.
I'm gonna make an analogy, or not an analogy. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna start drawing comparisons. But if you look at the programs that used to be storied programs, like whenever I was a kid, Miami was the program, right? Under Jimmy Johnson and what's his name?
Schnellenberger.
Schnellenberger. Yeah, they were it. I mean, USC's always been relevant. Notre Dame's always been relevant. They go through periods, but one of the things that makes Georgia really unique, in my opinion, it's almost like the Pittsburgh Steelers. We make decisions really slow. I think Rick, honestly, could have gone a couple of years, but in hindsight, looking back on it, probably glad that we didn't. You know what I mean? And Tennessee went through years and years after Fulmer. Florida, they've never gotten it right. Since essentially Urban Meyer and Spurrier. So my point is, the grass is not always greener on the other side, but at the same time, if you look at guys and they just can't seem to get it done, I'll be honest with you, people are probably going to get pissed. If I'm sitting at LSU or Florida right now, and I'm a big-time donor, alumni, I'm saying the same thing I just said about all these other situations I'm saying about Lane Kiffin. Oh, he can get you 10 or 11 wins in a season, and he can talk a lot of smack on social media and get all the stories from ESPN and all that. But can he, at the end of the day, what has he ever won a playoff game? Ever? No. As a head coach? Okay. So I just don't know. You're going to pull the Brinks truck up and dump money, you're going to be potentially right back in the situation that you were in. So I don't know. It's so rare to get a program that makes the right decisions with a coach that can get everybody, that guy in Minnesota rowing all in the same direction. And with some of these alumni and donor bases, I don't know how you do that at Auburn. I don't know how you do that in Florida. Just based on an outsider looking in, it seems like a fucking dumpster fire to me. LSU's different. I think
LSU can win the national championship despite their head coach if they have
right.
Right.
See Ed Orgeron.
Yeah, Les Miles as well.
Yeah. Great recruit. I mean, Orgeron, I don't take anything away from him. Great recruiter and knew how to assemble a good staff and knew what talent looked like. But as far as the embodiment of building a program around that guy, I don't think you can do that. No. And I'll be honest with you. I don't know if you can do it with Lane Kiffin. Maybe you can. I could be proven wrong, but I don't know. If you look at all the coaches that have had long-term sustainable success, what do they all have in common? They're like a Nick Saban and a Kirby Smart. They're sort of curmudgeony, and they're not real big on giving a shit what somebody on social media thinks and all that kind of bullshit. And the celebration and the lack of discipline and all those sorts of things that I worry about if I'm looking at a big-time coach and rolling up I would look at a Division III or a smaller college and look at somebody that's had success there, and before I would some of these other coaches. James Franklin, there's another one. We'll talk about him.
I mean, he might win at Virginia Tech, but can he win a national championship? Probably not.
He ain't won shit that matters.
Yeah, does a good job building a program, but can that program go to the next level? I don't think so.
I'll give more credit to what's his name that coaches at Boston College than I will of rebuilding the Penn State program. He saved that. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not exactly sure what Franklin accomplished at Penn State.
Yeah, I'm not either. But
got them to the playoffs last year, and they got embarrassed, right?
I mean, not embarrassed. I mean, Notre Dame beat them, where Penn State should have won that game. So, okay. But again, Georgia's kind of in the same boat there. Speaking of that team, that's a good set. Well, look at you setting me up. That was perfect. Great serve. I don't know if it was the radio broadcast or if it was the television broadcast, but Kirby showed a clip to the team on Friday. He showed them two clips. One was of the 2021 team, and they were beating, I think, UAB or somebody 49-0 in the third quarter or the second quarter, whatever it was. And then he showed them the UMass game from last year where it was 31-21 late in the third, or I think it was in the fourth quarter even. And he said, which team do you want to be? Which I found really interesting. And to me, I think Kirby really hated last year's team. So much so that he started taking interviews for the NFL. There were, he flirted with them. He had conversations with them. Ultimately decided to stay, thank God. But you remember last year how there were rumors everywhere about Kirby leaving or looking at the NFL?
I don't think they. I mean, if they hit my radar, I didn't take them seriously because I just couldn't see it. But I'm not saying he won't ever do it.
No, but I guess we should have because he definitely had conversations with NFL teams. So
Falcons.
I don't know if it was the Falcons. I think it was the Jets. Which I gotta tell you, I don't know. I don't really get it, but whatever. Anyway, he definitely had conversations that's been backed. I heard that the other day, and I asked somebody who has insider knowledge on that and said yes. But how serious were those conversations? They didn't know. So, found that interesting. And you can tell this year he likes this team a lot. I would even say he loves this team because he said that multiple times. And almost every Kirby Smart show that's on TV or on YouTube, at the end, whenever they're in the team locker room, he says, "I love the way y'all play. I can't wait to see you next week and what you do." So I think he really likes this team. I think this team is more so in the image of him than probably the last couple of teams. Like, even that 22 team wasn't really in the image of Kirby. This is more of a throwback Georgia team where it's like a 2017 Georgia where, they're going to grind it out. And I think Kirby likes that about this team a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how he felt about last year. I mean, he said this before. Every team, every season is different, right? The players are different. The personality of the players on the team are different. Motivation, what motivates them, is different. I would say that. I will tell you another thing that I've over the last couple of years. What did Georgia get away from, in my opinion, that they've always had under Kirby last 2 years offensively? We got away from running the ball. It was all a quarterback-centric offense. I get that when you got Brock Bowers, Ladd McConkey, and you see that Carson Beck might have some skill set. I can see that. But we were such a pass-first team last year, and this year's – I would say Kirby is the type of coach that is, you got to stop the run, and you got to be able to run the ball even when other teams know you're going to do it. And that's more the embodiment of this year's team versus the last 2 years. And I think the level of, I call it want to, desire, where it really means something for these guys. I think we have more of those types of players where they literally live and die by how Georgia does on Saturday. I'm talking about the players, not just the fans. I mean, you look at Gunner, you look at Lawson Lucky, you look at Bobo, you look at the guys and the heritage and the lineage they have back to the University of Georgia. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So I that was a big takeaway for me last Saturday. This team cares. Kirby cares a lot about this team. So we're pulling all in the same direction. Usually whenever you have an organization that's all pulling in the same direction, usually that's a good sign. Also, by the way, I would not be shocked if Brent Key doesn't leave Tech. Or if he does leave Tech, I should say. I wouldn't be surprised.
Boy, his credibility would go out the window if he does that. I'm talking about.
Well, and here's the other thing too. Yeah. He's an alumni, but also Bill Curry left Tech. He was an alumni.
I would say Bill Curry had a little bit more success for a longer period of time. Not that matters, but I understand what you're saying. I would, whenever he says "cut me open and see what color I bleed," emphatically says I'm not going anywhere. And then to do something like that, if I was a player and I had a son, or if I had a son that was a recruit, I don't know how good I'd feel about telling him to go to whatever school he lands at after he says something. Look, you can't believe anything he fucking says.
No, but I also think he's kind of stupid. Anyway, all right. Well, that leads us into our next video next week. What am I doing? Wow. Thursday. Well, it'll be released on Wednesday. Get you ready for turkey and being Tech, which I don't know, I feel pretty good about. So check us out on Terminus Sports _ATL on socials, on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Remember to like and subscribe the video. Hit a notification bell on there. I know YouTube updated their app and it looks kind of weird. It took me a while to send a video today, so I guess get used to that. They'll change it in 3 months anyway. And is there anything else? Comment. That's about it. That's all you can do for us. So we appreciate it if you like these videos. Keep coming back, and we'll see you on the other side.
See ya.